Greetings guys, this is Stretch back in with another video. I do hope you guys are all doing well. Today I figured to do another Vigil video. This isn't a Vigil you're probably more used to seeing, like the dual web long point AB one, small ANSI. I just decided to drop the second web for the medium ANSI so we get a bit more tank out of the Vigil. The good thing about the Vigil is it's still super fast, man. Like AB web scram can still range control most things that don't have two webs itself. We'll still have no problem range controlling, say, something like a Comet, just because our base speed's really good. And the medium ANSI adds like a lot of tank to us that most people won't expect. Because the thing with this, the dual web long point Vigil is that it's like really squishy, as well as having like really hard times with its cap, just because of that keeping that long point running. So there is some things we can do with this, and it does have quite a nice tank. It's not insanely tanky, but it does have a good tank as to where we can like say go against stuff like wolves and some destroyers and maybe come out the top. Sometimes it can be a bit dicey. But the speed also helps to mitigate sometimes like damage from, say, if someone's using like, say, Scourge Rage rockets or just like Rage rockets in general. You can mitigate some damage for speed, just keep your AB heated. I am running standard Exile in the agency, those two, just to amplify our tank really. The hard shell applies to both the shield booster and the small anti-armor ripper, which is sweet, man. So you're getting like a lot bang for your buck for that ripper. I decided to go for Exile as opposed to Blue Pill because I feel like we'd get more out of small anti, just because we have that hull buffer to chip through, if you get me. But ideally, what you want to do is use your small anti before you use your medium anti, just so that you can get the most out of this small armor ripper. Just so that like once it's ran out of charges, you can still use it without charges, just like sorta like buffer up your HP and then use your medium anti to sort of buffer in between that. That makes sense. Hopefully the upcoming fights will sort of show like what I mean. But yeah, nevertheless, boys, let's get on to the fights. Okay, for our first couple of fights, I've got some fights against Comets. This first one's a Blaster Comet, and funnily enough, this pilot is fitting MWD, thinking I'm going to be the dual web long point one. I do expect dual webs from this fellow, so I line out before I do anything really. I end up keeping my range at 7k, 7.6, sorry. That was a bit of a mistake. It isn't too bad of a mistake, but maybe orbit 7k or something would have been better. I do bring my orbit into 5k when I realize that he's maybe looking to escape. I'm very confident I'll be able to tank him at orbit in 5k. He'll still be able to hit it with null, but with Void 90 mana, you shouldn't really be able to, so force him to switch to null. I'm fairly confident I can win this fight if he switches to null. I have Caldari, just because you're using a single web, I always recommend use Caldari Navy Nova as opposed to Rage when shooting against Frigates, unless like say you know they're going to fit an MWD, and then you can switch it off with the Scram. But usually A being Frigates, if you have a single web, use Caldari Navy Nova. Now this is the dual web Comet, and it just kind of shows like how rough they are. I wasn't expecting this. I see Blaster somewhere or orbit 7k. Get all our stuff on it. Once you see those webs, I'm not seeing any Scram, I'm like, okay, this is going to be the Blaster one, dual web. So then I end up aligning out, and then it's pretty much safe. Like I can stay, like if I'm going to win this, or if I look like it's getting too dicey, and I feel like I'm going to lose, I can just warp out. Just like align out, and then you're fine. Just make sure you don't make the wrong decision. I get pretty close here, but I was like, nah, let's leave. Like if they're not running a Scram, you have every right to warp off. I know I run way too many dual web bits. But this is a real Comet. I look at it, and this fight is dicey, man. So basically what you want to do is orbit close. I'm orbiting 500. Heat AB. Web Scram with him. And as you'll see, I'll probably try, like I always try and get small ANSI charges off before the medium ANSI. I almost play it very badly here. You'll see why. I totally underestimate the DPS this real Comet is putting out and how fast he is. Because he's still applying very well. You'll notice that he gets a bit into our hull buffer. And I might have actually started the medium ANSI a bit too late in this situation. So you'll see we're taking a lot of damage, man. I was expecting to get underneath this guy's guns, no baller. But this is like a very close fight. And yeah. Yeah, I thought we were losing this, but it's a very close one. And we end up taking the win, actually. So GF, man. Okay, here's a neat little fight against a dual web beam slicer. As I approach, he's putting in a lot of DPS, man. He's dual web, no prop. So he's tracking very well until well, I hope that, like, until I get close, man. That's basically my aim here. You'll notice I started at alpha through our reps, get into our hull. I'm just banking on once we get a tight orbit 500, we might get some damage, and it seems to be. So once we get within our 500 orbit, just because he has a prop mod, he can't pull away. I'm gonna get a lot of DPS. You probably would have been better off using pulses as opposed to beams in that kind of fit. But regardless, GF, my friend. Okay, another dual web fit. This is a dual web beam crucifier navy. You'll notice that I have one shield bister. So, basically we start this fight. And then I notice, and then I freak out, and I'm like, alright, I need to sort of disengage at this point. There's still a chance of us winning this, but it's very slim with my medium anti. Charge is not there, so basically I try and align out here. I notice he's keeping us like 7k. I align out the opposite direction and hoping to pull range. I notice he is also getting very slow, but as am I. So it would have been very interesting seeing if I stayed, if I had that, but I think he would have won. It's just a shame I didn't have my charges loaded. This next fight is against that TD Hookbill. It's a shame that I didn't change that missile disrupt, or this was another Hookbill. So he's at a disadvantage of having basically one module that does nothing to me. It's a shame, because I was ideally wanting to fight against the dual rep Hookbill or the medium shield extender Hookbill, but unfortunately I couldn't find one of those. But nevertheless, it's still a pretty cool little fight. We aren't forced to use any of our shield boosters, just cause we can tank this fellow fairy thing. But yeah, nevertheless, man, GF for the fight. It's just a shame that he didn't, you know, maybe switch to missile disrupt. Like, maybe missile disrupt doesn't make that a bit more of a fair fight. This next fight is against a blaster Cormorant. I know this is going to be quite a rough fight, man. And just a heads up, this guy is missing 2 rigs. He's got 1 hull rig, but for whatever reason he wasn't able to fit the other 2. So yeah, just keep that in mind in this fight. He switched to null. Blaster Cormorant with null can reach out to 11k, which is very scary, and that's just what I was expecting. I was expecting to be able to keep out of his void and antimatter range, but I was knowing that I was going to probably have to tank some form of null DPS. And you'll see that's what we're doing just now. He started the fight with null, which is a smart play. And it's super close, man. This is what I'm saying. If he had the 2 extra rigs, he would have won that, so GF, man. Okay, here we have a fight against Thrasher. Thrasher's gonna be super dicey, especially with his dual whip artillery. If that's the case, just dip. But I check this guy's guns, I see autos, and basically we want to keep him far fall off. So I'm going to orbit about 7.5, I said it here. And that should keep us out of range of these autos. Unless maybe he switches to something like Barrage, in which case I think he's down to like 11k. I could be wrong, but you'll be heading out to scram range anyway. Scram kiting range. But if he's sticking with faction ammo, we should have no problem like tanking at this kind of range whilst planking him down. This seemed to be like an all-in gang Thrasher. There wasn't too much tank to it. And thankfully he goes down pretty quickly. But yeah, if it's like Arte and you see just your webs, there's not too much ways of dealing with one of those in a frigate unless you're really fast, you web, and you can get underneath his guns quick. But autos is very easy to deal with in scram kiting. So this is a Corex. I'm hoping my tank and my speed can maybe get enough damage as to where I can take this. This is a very tanky Corex. I have Inferno Rage loaded and Phase Plasma in the guns. It might have been worth going to Maldnir Rage, but I was thinking that maybe if he plugs the EM hole, Thermal will be the right call. What's my thinking? Maybe use the, what's it called? Field Extenders, EM was the right call. Because this is a very close one. I'm also noticing that I didn't take my boosters. So I don't think I have Exile and Hard Shell. I'm going to go for this one. So that might come into play. So yeah, you'll notice he has like a lot of shield buffer. I did check this guy's kills fit after I fought him. And it seemed like he was using a shield, medium shield extender as well as an adaptive. Which is very cool. And he didn't have a prop. So I really should have maybe disengaged. But thankfully I didn't. This is a really cool fight, despite me losing. So nevertheless, GF Corex. Okay, for our last fight here, we're up against a wolf. This is a wolf that we've done a fight, video on previously. 200 play MWD scram, small anti. So basically I want to keep him as far fall off as possible without losing the scram. I maybe should have heated the scram here at the start and pulled range farther out. But I was confident-ish, keeping that 7.5k, being able to tank him. he wouldn't be doing max DPS here. I actually have Nova Rage loaded here. I actually want to go into this fight with Faction Nova, maybe expecting AB, because if this guy was rocking an AB, we probably wouldn't have been able to apply fully with Nova Rage. But thankfully I did go in with Nova Rage. I don't know why I turned off heat in my guns here. That could have been a problem. And I noticed the Orping at this kind of range weren't getting hits on him with the missiles. Which is another problem. So I actually thought we were going in with Faction. I was kind of a tired mood at this point. I also didn't set my small anti-thought reload off, so it's a pretty dire situation here. I'm not quite on top of my game here. This is a super close one. But I'm pretty sure Rage would have been the right call had I known he was MWD. Because it seems like after checking the log afterwards, we're playing Fag, and we win somehow. So GF, man. GF. Okay, that's all the fights I had for you guys today. I did enjoy playing this Vigil actually. It was good fun being in scram range rather than being, you know, out in like long point range with this. It's cool. It forces us to basically be like kind of on our game, make sure we didn't lose scram. Tanking was super fun. And it's basically, I feel like it's a better engagement for people fighting this as opposed to the dual web one, which is an absolute nightmare to fight. But regardless, GF to all the pilots I fought. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And yeah, on to the next one. I hope to see you then. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your days.